All right. Good evening, Ajax. How's everybody doing? I love it. Thank you for coming out tonight to the Mayor 2018 election debate. My name is Ryan Quill, and I'm pleased to be your moderator tonight. Before we begin, I'm just going to ask if you can pull out your cell phones, turn them to silent or vibrate, so we don't have any disruptions throughout the night. And kind of have a debate that flows well. And I'm also going to ask you at this time that you avoid going in and out of the room, as that does also cause a disturbance throughout the debate. So if you do need to take a call, we understand, but if you can just quietly make your way outside and try to come back in when it seems appropriate. Tonight's debate is part of a series of debates as well as a school board trustee meet and greet sponsored by the town of Ajax. It is organized and run by independent people and volunteers. This debate series provides you with an opportunity to meet the candidates, ask them questions, and hear their ideas. And that's exactly what you're doing here tonight. You've taken the time out of your day to come out and get engaged in Ajax's future and participate in the democratic process, to ask questions and hear the candidates' answers, and ultimately to make an informed decision when you vote at the end of the month. So thank you so much for getting involved. Voting in this election is going to be slightly different from the past, as it's going to be easier than ever to vote. In the past, you could visit a polling station to cast your vote, as well as vote online or by telephone. For this election, however, there will be no polling stations. Voting will be done online or by telephone, and you can vote anywhere, anytime, from Monday, October 15th, starting at 10 a.m., to Monday, October 22nd, ending at 8 p.m. Please note that there will be a small number of voter assistance centers available to help people that either don't have access to internet or need some extra help with the process. To learn more, please visit the Town of Ajax website or stop by the table at the back of the room to learn more from someone on the elections team. And just so you know, we are recording tonight's debate, so if someone was not able to attend tonight, they can watch it at ajax.ca/debates with an S, and that will be posted around midday tomorrow. So with all of this in mind, please vote and encourage your neighbors, friends, and family to be as engaged as you are. Now let's do a quick overview and a look at the rules for tonight. Tonight will be a forward structured debate with rules of order. Some of the rules apply to the candidates up here, and some of them apply to the members of the audience yourself. We have a very big crowd here, and I'm sure a lot of you have questions you want to ask. But please bear in mind tonight, we only have about an hour and a half of debate time. And while this may sound like a lot, with each candidate answering for 2 minutes, it can take up quite a bit of time for each question, leaving us with room for about 7 to 8 questions. The candidates will be available after the debate around the room as well as at the back if you'd like to talk with them further and engage in anything that's more discussion-based as well. Now, our goal tonight is to have a debate that's fair, nonpartisan, and impartial. It should be civil and informative debate. The debate will be limited to 2 hours in length, and there may be a brief amount of time at the end to meet the candidates. The debate will be managed by 3 officials. Myself, the moderator and facilitator. I'm responsible for overall coordination of the debate, and I'm the final arbiter in the event of a dispute. Our timekeeper for tonight is Colleen. She is responsible for signaling when time limits for questions, answers, and rebuttals have been reached in order to keep the debate focused. When the timekeeper signals that your time is up, you must finish talking. And I'll let you know how that works for you shortly. The question monitor for tonight is Amar, right over there near the mic, and he's responsible for managing access to the microphone for members of the public and to ask that are willing or asking debate questions. Oh yeah, we do have some people in the back that are looking for seats, so if you have an empty seat beside you, you can just put your hand up and point it out so people in the back can see you. Thank you. Now let's quickly go over the detailed rules. Each of these candidates have been given these rules, and by appearing here tonight has agreed to follow them. We've already briefed them on their part that they have 2 minutes for opening and closing statement, as well as to answer the debate questions. They will be given 2 minutes. But now let's get into the rules that you will need to follow as a member of the audience. You'll be given 30 seconds to pose your questions. We ask that all questions are clear, concise, respectful, and in the form of a question rather than a statement. If your question does involve a personal situation, please keep the details general. And it's not appropriate for candidates to answer questions that involve specific, personal, and private details. If you have any accessibility or mobility needs, please signal Lamar, our question monitor, and he will assist you in making sure your question is heard. To help you out with understanding the strict 30-second time rule we have, when you're asking your question, you're going to see a yellow card from Colleen when 20 seconds is up. That means you have 10 seconds left to really get to the heart of your question. So we invite you to add context to your question, because we understand that's important. But when you see that yellow card, please get directly to what it is you want the candidates to speak to. You have 10 seconds until finally you see a red card, just like in soccer. We won't kick you out, so we'll have to stop sometime. Please also bear in mind, members of the audience are not allowed to enter into debate with the candidate. So although sometimes it may be tempting to want to go back and forth, for the sake of time, we cannot facilitate that. But as mentioned, you will have time after to talk to the candidates after the debate. You may ask more than one question during the debate. However, if there is a queue after you ask one question, you'll have to go to the back of the queue and wait to ask another one. And also, I encourage you, when you do come up to the mic, you'll have a question in mind, but there's a good chance that there is a queue, someone in front of you will probably ask a very similar question. So please keep in the back of your mind a second question that is different, so that we can have a good cross-section of issues discussed throughout tonight's debate. Does anyone have any questions about that? All right, well, I'll be here if you do, and we're going to move into the main event now that the formalities are out of the way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to meet our candidates and hear their views in their opening statement. We did a random draw for order, and we'll begin with each 2-minute opening statement, starting with our first candidate, Jennifer Brown.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you to all the organizers, and thank you, of course, to everyone here for attending. I just want to make sure we get this volume right. So I'm running to be your next mayor because I am disillusioned and disappointed with our current council. They have had ample time to demonstrate their worthiness and to prove that they can be trusted. It is time for a change. It is time for leadership that is fresh, has new ideas, and is interested in listening to and working with its residents. I also put my hand up because I have many years of provincial government experience at the executive level. I know how budgets are set, how legislation is drafted, how programs and services are delivered in the public sector. It's very different from the private sector. Government experience is the type of experience that helps you govern. In addition, I have Ajax-specific board governance experience from being a trustee on the library board and serving as the vice chair and chair, as well as being on the Recreation, Arts, and Culture Advisory Committee. Politicians come and go, but it is the bureaucrats or town staff who are responsible for the day-to-day operations. Having been a bureaucrat and working with executive staff and political staff, I know how the system works. When I'm a new politician being briefed by staff, I will be in a position to say, are we doing this because we've always done it this way, or is there a better way? And that's how you find the efficiencies. So what kind of leadership do I bring? It is very simple. What is the best way to serve Ajax residents? Are they best served by raising their taxes every single year since incorporation? I don't think so. Yes, we need programs and services, and we're willing to pay for those. But let's stop doling out money for luxury items like bike lanes when we could redirect it to something that's far more pressing, like looking after our seniors.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next up, we have Sean Collier.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to support this next mayor of the town of Ajax. I'm Sean Collier. I've lived here since 1969, and except for the time I spent serving the Canadian Armed Forces, Ajax has been my home my entire life. I have a vested interest here, same as all of you, and that's what prompted me to get involved in politics in the first place, is to help shape how this great town moves forward. The mayor's position is not an entry-level position. Just think of it like hiring a CEO for a corporation. You need somebody with the education and experience, hit the ground running, and to guide the team. I was first elected in 2003, and I've had the privilege of serving 2 terms as a local Ward 1 councillor, 2 terms as a regional councillor for Wards 1 and 2, and as deputy mayor. I'm an accountant, a financial advisor. I hold a chartered director degree in corporate governance. I'm the chair of Finance Committee. I oversee a $1.4 billion budget for the region of Durham, and I'm vice chair of transit. Those are the 2 biggest files of the region, and I was appointed to those unanimously by my peers. Also sit on the board of directors for Viridian Corporation, Cloca, and several others. These are my qualifications and positions today. My experience is current and is valid. Council is a team environment. No member can do anything by themselves. Anyone stating that I've done this and I do that is just simply misleading. Every member of council has only 1 vote, and it takes a majority to move issues forward. We've been very successful in several ways, and we excel. Financially and environmentally, we're leaders. And I'm still very impressed that despite substantial growth, considerable growth, we've maintained our town of Ajax sort of small town feel and charm. However, we do face some significant challenges. We must address the fact that 70% of our workforce has to go to the city every day to work because we lack jobs. Crime is increasing in our town. We have sewer capacities in our downtown core that's limiting growth. We have a transit system that we need to grow. I look forward to discussing the solutions I'm bringing forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. Next we have Carrie and Fenn.
Hello, everyone. Ajax is my home. It's wherever is my family. It's where I've built my foundation to educate, support, and provide resources to the community. It's where I've worked to build up healthcare and fight for the most vulnerable. And I hope to continue to fight for all of us as our new mayor. I've been working to build our town for a very long time, through my foundation which helps the vulnerable, through the Ajax Hospital, which helps the sick, and through my TV show, which helps increase awareness in our community. I'm the founder of the Carrie and Fenn Foundation, a Lakeridge Health Board of Trustees, governing your hospital care for over 600,000 Durham Region residents. Our town is roughly 120,000 residents. I'm also a Lakeridge Health Board Quality Committee member and co-chair of the Ajax Pickering Hospital Community Panel. I'm the host of Health 1-8 with Carrie and Fenn on Rogers TV, giving community members the platform to share their stories. I'm an accessibility advisor to Town of Ajax Council and vice chair of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. I'm honored to be selected as one of the Accomplished Black Canadian Women 2018 by the Honorable Jean Augustine and her co-authors. If elected, I plan to focus on building a sustainable and livable community by supporting our seniors, empowering our youth, reducing the tax burden on residential taxpayers, and advocating for diversity, accessibility, and inclusion. Improving our economy is imperative. That's why we need to attract new businesses, to invest and create new jobs through collaborative partnerships. We need to build a strong business community so the family can work, live, and thrive here in Ajax. I want to be there to listen to you, be your advocate, be your voice at the table, to ensure that we have all the resources that we need to build a stronger community. Thank you.
Next up, we have Colin Jordan.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to see the turnout tonight. It's wonderful, and I know many of you have been the active volunteers that have made our town such a great town. I'll talk a little bit about myself now. Just to say I'm a graduate, University of Toronto, Dean's Honor List. I've worked in international banking centers in both Toronto and Montreal. I've led a large nonprofit in the region, Community Development Council Durham, which provides social services to many residents in the region. And I've sat on council for 18 years, 3 as a local councillor and 15 as a regional councillor and acting as deputy mayor. Why do I want to run? Because I want to continue a lot of the work that we have all been so involved in. Things like the environment. We're seen as leaders in our environmental policies in our official plan. Working on the waterfront. We've worked hard on the algae issue. We need to keep continuing that push to have tertiary treatment. Diversity and community engagement. I was a strong advocate and involved in developing that policy and strategy and working to see us fulfill some of the goals of that. We're in stage 2 of that policy and we need to continue to work ahead. Growing the green belt. That's my passion. We need to develop responsibly and not develop where it causes adverse environmental effects and flooding. I want to say I also accomplished a first in Canada, first monument to Canadian women war workers. Hope we don't take that out of my time. Thank you. I want to say one of the founders of this great town, Louise Johnson, original Defence Industries Limited worker, is here tonight. I'm pleased.
And finally, Arthur Augustine.
Politics and politicians should be a calling, not a career. Martin Luther King. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this event. My name is Arthur Augustine, and I'm running for mayor because I love Ajax, because I care, and because I want to make a difference. I am a graduate of York University in forensic psychology. I have sat on many boards across the region, too many to mention in 2 minutes, going to take up the rest of the evening. And I am the proud owner of Arthur's Barbershop and Beauty Salon, one of the longest running beauty salons here in Durham region and also in Ajax. I love Ajax. This political race is not about me, it's about you, your children, your grandchildren. It's about the future of Ajax. It is about what has been happening in Ajax and how we can make Ajax a better future for everyone to live in this beautiful city, town of Ajax. It is about the seniors. It is about employment. Most 70% of the people that live in Ajax travel an hour and a half on the 401 to get to Ajax, out of Ajax. Another hour and a half to come back into Ajax. This is 3 hours you lose. This is time you should be spending with your family. That is wrong. We need to change that. We need to make Ajax proud. We need to make Ajax a better and a beautiful city. As mayor, I would initiate that. I am also a very strong negotiator. I am affiliated with the courts that does a lot of negotiation. And I believe this is why Ajax went down a negative spiral. We need people who are wise and people who can negotiate on the residents of Ajax. As your mayor, I give you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Okay, now that we've heard our candidates' opening statements, it's your turn to drive the conversation. Please make your way up to the mic. Again, have a question ready in your head as well as a backup. Oh, wow. More, I hope you brought your protection suit. Okay, we're good. Now, before you start, this is great, this is fantastic. Okay, we're going to try to get through these all. We understand that you might not want to... Listen up, please. We understand that standing up there for a long time in line might be tough. Amar will hand out numbers if you prefer to use those in order to reserve your spot. Without further ado, please, let's go ahead and start the questions.
My name is Sandra Forsyth, and I've been living in Durham for over 30 years. My question is, what are some of your concrete initiatives to make Ajax community a stronger and safer place? And someone on the panel, I think if I'm not mistaken, it might be Mr. Collier, said things that one of the things is building a police station somewhere in Ajax. So the question to that is, do you think that putting a police station in a community that has the most unracialized people is conducive to making it a stronger and safer place?
Thank you for that. So on the topic of making initiatives to make the community stronger and safer, as well as on the police issue, we're going to start with Jennifer.
Thank you for the question. Awesome. So specific examples of making Ajax stronger, safer. First of all, we have to do a better job of engaging citizens. The town is a lovely, beautiful town, poised, positioned itself very well in Durham region. It's an excellent place to live, great quality of life. But the town's efforts to strengthen neighborhoods have kind of failed, and it's my opinion that there's just one little missing link, and that is connecting people. You can't put people in a room and expect that they're going to be able to feel, human nature is such that people are shy. So you've got to make the effort to break the ice and get them to get to know each other. You don't have to hold their hands forever, but I think that those kind of engagement committees will go a very long way to ensuring that we can do a better job of feeling like we can contribute, so residents feel like they have something to offer, so that they can become engaged, fully engaged, active. And so that applies to every single category, for crime, for the environment. I'm on engagement committees, and these are resident-led. They're not the town's advisory committees, which are a different kind of feature. I'd like to be more organic. So that would be my specific. I am not in support of a division, a police division here in Ajax. Most of you know that my main platform item is 0% increase in property taxes. So as a fiscal conservative, I'm not inclined to want to spend money on a bricks and mortar building. We are well served by Whitby and Pickering. And boots on the ground are absolutely necessary. We need the right police resources, there's no question. But that is not the way to solve the problem. I believe that we need to be looking at other solutions.
Thanks, Jennifer. Sean.
Thank you very much for the question. And we had a presentation for regional police 2 weeks ago, and crime is up in Durham 7.4% Durham-wide, so it is an issue, and not only in volume but also severity. We're now into more knives and guns, and it's getting much, much worse. I'm a firm believer that increased police presence in our community will go a long way. We've gone from being a proactive type of policing where we would see the officers driving around our neighborhoods to being a strictly reactive type of policing where you only see them when there's a problem. I don't mean any disrespect to the police regarding that. That is the situation we have today. As Chair of Finance, I know the numbers very well, and my costed plan for a police station in Ajax that is available on my website does not spend 1 cent more money. What we're doing is reallocating money that's already in the budget to be spent. There's $30 million in the budget to build another police station in Pickering in 2022. That is simply wrong. We're the 44th largest municipality in Canada. We're 125,000 population. And if you look at the top 100 in Canada, 99 have that essential piece of infrastructure and one does not, and that's Ajax. And the facts are, we spend $36 million a year specifically as Ajax residents for policing alone. And we're getting about $3 million with the benefit. And that's not good value for our tax dollars. I'm never going to say, and my policy does not say, that a police station will solve all of our issues, because it will not. But that presence, I don't think anybody can say won't have a significant effect on reducing driving habits as well as some of the criminal element that's sneaking into our town. Of course, we need more officers on the ground, and if you read the policy, you'll see not only creating a multi-use station in Ajax will bring presence here, but it'll also defer $90 million worth of debt in the region of Durham. This is money we can now use to hire some more officers and augment the force. We've been at 876 officers for 10 years. Meanwhile, the population of the region of Durham has grown by 150,000. that ratio is getting further and further apart, and we need to address it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Jeremy.
It's very important that we work on the relationship between police and community. Before you can serve the community to understand the community, based on the numbers that I've read in the report, the numbers goes up maybe in comparison to other neighboring cities in town. That doesn't tell me that there's significant changes within what is happening where we garner a police station at this moment. In order to be effective, right now we have an issue in regards to community and policing. If you were to add a police station at this moment, I am for a police station, but not at this moment. Now it's not the right time. It's not the responsible thing to do right now. Where are we getting the money from? We need to add more police officers. We need to listen to our police officers, listen to our community members, because there is a distance between police and community. I'm for police. The police have failed me as a mom. It's sad to say that, but we need to work on policing and community. Police officers need to be trained effectively to do their jobs and do their jobs right, because our lives depend on it. And when you make a mistake, there's consequences. Families get ruined, children get ruined, and we need to protect our community. Working together is important. You can't do anything by yourself. And that's why it's important to build on community policing, do what is right for the community, and not just spend money like it's water. Thank you.
Thank you. Pauline.
Thank you. There's absolutely no evidence that a police station makes a community safer. Look at the crime statistics around some of the stations. What there is evidence about is that more police officers on the streets can make a difference. If you look at the stats, we have 130 officers per 100,000 people. Niagara region has 150, Peel 143. That tells you something. We need more police officers in our neighborhoods, on our streets. We also need crime analysts, which review the data and they direct police resources where it's needed most. That works. Good prevention programs work too. And there are different models. The town of Ajax certainly has some programs, but we need to do more, and we need to look at best practices. As well, we need to have more police officers so they can get into preventative programs and policing it and work with those at youth. I do want to say though, we often talk about public safety on our streets. Almost 50% of assaults are intimate partner violence. We never talk about women in particular being safe in their own homes.
Thank you, Pauline. Arthur.
7.4% was quoted crime increase. That's in Durham. Unfortunately or fortunately, we're in Ajax. Ajax has a population of 120,000 people, but crime has gone down in Ajax. The evidence is here, you research it. Putting a police station in Ajax to me is a complete waste of money. It's going to cost upward of $60 million. Take that $60 million or past thereof, put it into mental health, help people who are struggling, help do things for the seniors. Like in one of my programs, I intend to have seniors travel free in all of Ajax. Take that money and put it towards that. We do not need a police station. What we do need though is dedicated police officers. Officers that will do the job when they're supposed to. We need smarter police technology so that police can detect crime. We need police that will do the beat, the waterfront, ride the bicycles, and make themselves very visible. We do not need any more police here in Ajax because there's no need for it. As far as driving and increasing accident, one of the most deadliest area for accident is right in front of the police station at Brock and Highway 2 in Pickering. We do not need another police station. What's the sense? Also, again, another statistics, downtown Oshawa, there's a police station right downtown Oshawa. Crime is the highest in downtown Oshawa. Again, we need dedicated police officers and police officers.
Thank you all. Thank you for the rebuttal.
Just to quickly add, with public policy makers, when you're entrusted with spending taxpayers' dollars, you have to make sure you're tackling the right problem. So with every single issue, homelessness is not just a matter of giving a home to a homeless person. There's going to be other underlying root issues. Same with crime and violence. Let's make sure we're tackling the right problem every time, because you can end up spending a lot of money dealing with symptoms instead of the root cause. Do I have time? More time? Just to illustrate, I'll give you an example. A garbage strike, right? There's garbage that's creating a population, an explosion in the vermin population. Do we as public policy makers create a rat strategy, a rat eradication strategy? Do we look at, send out an RFP to look for air purifiers? Governments unfortunately do that. Instead of just getting rid of the garbage, they spend money on the symptoms. So we have to be very mindful when we're entrusted with spending taxpayers' dollars that we look at the root cause.
Thank you, Jennifer. Please go ahead.
Ryan, I'd like to rebut this.
Yes. Go ahead.
Do I have 1 minute?
1 minute.
One thing that you folks are going to see over and over and over again is the candidates talking a lot about the issues, but bringing no solutions to the table. I said very clearly we need more officers, but how are we going to pay for it? To just say we need more is nothing more than a tax increase. My costed plan calls for reallocating of money that's already being spent and freeing up resources to not only get the station, but have officers as well. Other thing I brought forward in May of this year was policy for unmanned speed enforcement and photo red light cameras in Durham. It was approved unanimously at our council and endorsed on September 5th at the region, and those policies or those pilot projects are going to start next year. Using technology as well is going to help make things safer in our community, slow people down, and solve the problem. And that's what I do. I bring solutions. I don't just talk about the problems. Thank you.
Go ahead. 1 minute.
At a rip fest in Pickering, there was some sort of shooting. 45 seconds it would have taken the police to get to that location. So therefore, the moral of the story is we need more dedicated police, not a police station. If an offense happened 45 seconds just before a police station, if there was police mingling with the crowd, that would not have done. So therefore, again, the fact that having a police station even 45 seconds for any crime does not stop it. We need dedicated officers. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Having lived in Ajax for over 40 years, I'm pretty proud of our waterfront parks. And we cycle, walk the dog, rollerblade. I think it's the most beautiful waterfront park in the entire Golden Horseshoe. What I don't want is further development down there. I don't want I don't want townhouses, restaurants, big lights down there, big pavement. Can the candidates guarantee to us that there will be no further development at our waterfront?
Okay, thank you for that. Regarding development on the waterfront, we'll start with Sean on this one.
Thank you for the question. My Greenbelt environment policy speaks very clearly to this. Our 7 kilometers of uninterrupted waterfront has taken decades of council approvals to put that together. We are the envy of many, many municipalities in the province of Ontario. Our waterfront attracts people from across the province, things like the Great Waterfront Trail Adventure and many other different events. I pledge absolutely in my environmental policy to not entertain any applications to develop the waterfront in any way. It will remain for passive uses only under my watch, and that's the commitment I've made. Our official plan also sets out that is parkland, and that cannot be touched without an official plan amendment, and that would require the region as well. So been very clear on that, and I really thank you for bringing that to the table, because that is very important. Thank you.
We need to leave our green spaces to be green for our future generations. I'm not for development of the area. Thank you.
Thank you. As you know, I've been involved in everything with the waterfront since I was first elected. And I've improved it, that we have washrooms and some small community facilities. But that's as far as it goes. And also advocated for naturalizing it more. What I do, no development, absolutely, absolutely not. But what I do advocate for is we need to work on the water quality and the algae. We hired a consultant who determined that it was phosphorus from the sewage plant. Many of you were involved with PAC-PAL. We need to ensure we get a higher level of treatment on the sewage plant. You'll see my flyer, I'm standing in the algae. It was not a pleasant day, and the smell drives people away. I work as well with mayors that are across the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence cities with their initiative, because we share water. It doesn't recognize borders. So I've worked through that organization. We need to work more to improve our water quality and ensure that not only do we have a waterfront that we're proud of, but that we can actually get into the water, that it's good quality water, and there's 40 million people that depend on fresh water in the Great Lakes. We drink it. So it's an important topic. Thank you.
I totally and completely oppose any development of the waterfront. I think what can be done with the waterfront, it can be beautified. A couple of years ago I was in Dubai, and they have a waterfront that's similar to what we have here in Ajax. And the beautiful lights, it's just a sight to behold. I think we can do that for the waterfront. As it stands right now, getting to the area of the waterfront, it's too much traffic. There's bicycle lanes, and to even develop that will be a traffic nightmare and a traffic chaos. So we must keep the waterfront in its natural, beautiful way and just work on the algae problem that should have been worked on many, many years ago. I don't know what's been happening with the council that this problem have not been solved. Under my leadership as mayor, immediately all actions, all necessary remedies will be dealt with towards the waterfront. We have such a beautiful natural resources, and we're not really enjoying it. It's got to stop, and all these changes must be made and made very soon so that new residents who pay high taxes, excessively high taxes, would be able to sit on the waterfront and don't be affected with unusually dirty cent. We gotta fix it. Thank you.
Thank you, and Jennifer.
To answer your question, yes, unequivocally. I have no problem making that guarantee. I'm going to echo Arthur's comments that it takes too long for this town to be able to work with partners, other levels of government, to get things done. I don't even want to know how much money we've spent on resolving the lakefront issue. It's in the millions of dollars. I was tempted to do an FOI request, but that doesn't serve anyone. I want to see people serving this town fighting the good fight. You've got to work with the different levels of government. You have to escalate. We should be on CBC Marketplace talking about what's going on at this lake. It's you know, in fairness to the people who have served, I think their hearts are in the right place. They're trying to do their best, but we can do a lot better. It should not take this long. It should not take this much money. This is not why you elect officials to represent you. You've got to fight harder. You've got to be more passionate. You've got to fix things, and you've got to demonstrate by good leadership. You've got to lead by example and actually have something concrete to prove that you're making progress. The people on this panel have talked about, you know, various things. yeah, there's other jurisdictions that have had to solve this problem. Why are we studying it? Why is it okay for us to be told by another level of government to go back and study? You just keep writing letters, you get on the news, you do whatever you have to do to make sure that it's resolved and it's resolved quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for the question. Please go ahead with the next question.
Hi. I live down by the waterfront for many years. I know that everybody is advocating for tertiary treatment for the algae, the blue-green algae dangerous issue. What I want to know is what you would do different, because that tertiary treatment is going to take 5 to 7 years, from my understanding, to build the plant to deal with. So do you have an alternate technology in the meantime to deal with that problem? Thank you.
Okay, so what to do differently opposed to tertiary treatment with the algae situation? We'll start with Kiri.
Well, I remember a couple years ago, I was actually in St. Catharines, and it was a big problem there where they had to shut down the area. Other areas are using a traveler system to be able to address this. We need to get all the information and so that we're able to address this. This is something, if not dealt with the correct way, it's going to be something that's happening over and over and over again. So we need to be able to find the right resources, the right approach to deal with this. That's not going to cost us too much money. From what I'm told in regards to the travel system, it probably cost about $80,000 or something like that. But I'm not saying specifically that, but we need to look at other approaches and what options are available to be able to address this the correct way.
Thank you, Kiri. And Colleen.
Thank you. I want to say, first of all, fighting the good fight. A number of residents in this room were involved in that through Pat Powell, out writing letters, delivering pamphlets, getting postcards signed, etc., to ask, request, demand that the province make York and Durham put tertiary treatment on the plant. It's up to the province to decide. It's not in our jurisdiction to make that decision. Ajax hired the expert on algae from the University of Michigan, who did a number of studies on our water and waterfront. His conclusion was that we need tertiary treatment on the sewage plant. He also has determined that it could be seasonal, that it didn't have to be used all year, which made it much more reasonable in cost. The work has been done. It's now sitting with the province, and everyone here should be demanding it and continue. Don't let up. Ask that we get the treatment. That's what our experts have told us. They've done work in other areas as well. Syracuse, New York has tertiary treatment. The phosphorus has been reduced significantly. It has been reduced. If we had that, our algae wouldn't be a problem. So keep demanding that the province tell York and Durham that we need tertiary treatment to resolve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Arthur.
The solution to the algae issue should be solved, shouldn't be solved. We had a lot of experts who have come and looked at the algae and give the solution to the problem. The issue is we have a very weak council who were not strong enough to fight for the problem to be solved. We blame the provincial government, we blame the federal government, we blame everyone. What Ajax needs is a strong negotiator, a strong person who can stand up to all levels of government and say enough is enough. The people of Ajax have had enough, we're not going to take it anymore. And when you put me as mayor, I will fight for your rights. I will fight for your purification of the algae. But we need someone that is wise and who can advocate on all the people and not requesting that the people do for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer?
More and more disillusioned day by day. So if it is true that active flow is not in the offing, that there's a 5-year waiting period, no, there is no other solution, because we've studied and studied and studied, and that was the best one that was come up. That was the solution. So my understanding was the $250,000 that it cost for that to be provided on a seasonal basis, that we were waiting for the money for the federal government on that, and that it was imminent. I wrote to our local MPP. I have not heard back. That was 3 months ago. So I don't think there is a plan B, and again, that's another problem, and I don't know what to say to you, except perhaps you need new leadership.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean?
Thanks, Brian. I heard again, I did this, I did this, I did this. Council did this. Council assembled the land and mix up the waterfront. Council created the campaign to save the waterfront that many of you participated in. In 2014, many of the NPP candidates signed the pledge, and this was supposed to be dealt with. What happened was the Minister of the Environment, because ultimately this is a provincial decision. We have no say really in this, but ultimately this is a provincial decision, and nothing happened. They ordered a phosphorus reduction plan, which has taken us the last almost 2 years to do, and has been sitting on the minister's desk, I guess, for some time, and we are still waiting for. We're still waiting for a result. The funds for this have been in the regional budget since 2012. The problem is this is Ajax fighting the region of Durham. This plant only benefits us 20%. It benefits York region 80%. We treat their sewage, we take their garbage, and they set up in York and just smile. And until it's the region that we're fighting here, because if the region of Durham had stepped up and said, yes, we're going to do this, this would have been done. The money is there. But until the Minister of the Environment orders it, which is what it's going to take through the certificate of approval, it's not going to be done. And therein lies the problem. So you can point fingers all you want, the colleagues here that don't really know what happened. But that's what really happened. So what we're doing now, the people have spoken in Ajax, and we have a new minister. We have a new MPP who is the Minister of the Environment. If anybody can get this done, it's the Minister of the Environment. It's his job. So what I'm doing is, every time I speak to that man, I'm stressing that we need to work on this, we need to make a decision on this, we need to introduce the tertiary treatment. It's not going to cost us anything, the money's already there. And it's York region that's got to foot the bill as well. So that's where we are on this, and we're going to continue to fight and keep pushing this forward.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for that question.
Good evening, my name is Roger Davis. I live in South Ajax. I recognize that the town has, as we've heard this evening, have strategic and financial challenges. But I have a tactical concern. It has to do with the Lower Harwood. Lower Harwood modifications to improve have had unintended consequences. My question to this group of candidates is, will you support restoring Harwood Avenue to its original configuration between Clover Ridge and Wesley Drive?
Okay, thank you for that. The issue of Harwood, we'll start with Colleen.
Thank you. I know that to some residents it's caused concern, certainly, but to others it has been the solution to a problem. We heard a number of residents over the years who lived in the breakers particularly, that there was drag racing occurring regularly down that. Well, we had meetings. I'm telling you, I was on council and I did hear that from many residents. They heard the screeching of tires and so on. So this was a method to resolve that situation, and as well that there was more parking needed. Our transportation department has confirmed that they will revisit it and look at it and to see if there can be some changes, but it's not going to revert back to what it was before. It's providing parking, and it's resolved the issues of speeding and racing down that straight stretch, particularly in the early hours of the morning. Also, to improve the appearance of fences, there was some landscaping, but it won't revert back to what it was.
Thank you, Colleen. Arthur?
It is almost difficult to revert back to what it was because some people choose to call it its development, its progress, and it's moving forward towards the future. What I do think that can be done there, though, maybe more policing can be established there, maybe police on a regular basis, police walking the beat that can eliminate the drag racing that they usually have there sometimes very late in the morning. I think what the area needs to be done in the area is to remodify the area in a sense that we can at least shift it back to what it was before, so that people like the gentleman can feel comfortable in such area.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer?
Thank you. Where did the gentleman disappear to? Oh, so just to clarify, is this about the bike lanes?
It
So-
goes beyond the bike lane.
Okay, so we're just going to keep it as overall going back to what it was.
But specifically between Overridge and Westney,
Okay.
north of Westney Drive.
Perfect. Thank you.
Not the lower court, not south. My question is not about south of Overridge.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I misunderstood.
I'm sorry, I'm not aware specifically of what you're referring to. My understanding, I thought that it had to do with the bike lanes, and I have not, I've heard from residents that it's just completely unhelpful. The configuration hasn't, it's created confusion, not helpful. But my apologies, I'm not aware specifically of what that area looks like.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean?
I stated earlier, I've lived here since 1969. I grew up in South Ajax. My parents are here. They still live in the same house they bought back in 1969. So I grew up in this area. I know it very well. And this election, I'm knocked on every single door. And the residents have been very, very clear. We made a mistake. I mean, this is the 2005 Transportation Master Plan. It was done in 2005. And all these lanes and everything were set out. It went through full public consultation, but that was 13 years ago, and things changed. And a lot of the residents at the door have told me that they do not like the section from Westney and Dryer down to Clover Ridge, and they want that returned. They find the green lanes confusing, and actually, I've been down there myself and found it confusing, but also a little bit dangerous because people don't know what that green stripe is. People don't realize when you're coming south on Harwood, and all of a sudden you have to get over right away because you don't realize it goes to one lane when you get to Westney Dryer. You know, we are here to represent people. And when this many people are telling us that a mistake has been made and that we need to change it and this is what they want, I think we should listen. So I've been telling people that at the door. And that is sort of the way I do business. I do listen, I do hold public consultations, I've held quarterly public meetings ever since I got on regional council. Meetings like this where residents come and tell us what they think, and what we're doing right, and what we're doing wrong, and that's how we learn. And I think what I've learned from all the time I spent in that area, and especially in this campaign, that I think this was done wrong. I think south of there is great, because we needed more parking, and I don't think the volume of traffic is there to warrant 2 lanes. So we want people to enjoy the waterfront, and that was what this was really intended for, was to provide more parking and more access down there to access Harwood Point Gardens. But from the section, to answer your question, sir, from Westney Dryer, I would absolutely support revisiting that and looking at that.
Sean?
In my other life as a designer, I was a high-profile designer in Toronto. I designed for all the major home shows. It's been an honor. I've been staying in South Ajax, and you walk into a diner, and it's such a beautiful feeling. What I'm finding from the community members is their community has been torn apart, and nobody's asking them what they want. Nobody's assessing what community members want to maintain within their community. I came here when I was 19 years old. It's a lot different from how it is now. And people like that traditional thing that they're used to. It's good to have modern, but you can't lose who you are. What I'm finding in our community a lot, from a designer's perspective, from a practical perspective, we're doing renovation, we're doing projects that are not practical. Are we consulting with the community members so we know that we're doing what the community members want, and we're ensuring that we're doing things for the right reason, with the right purpose in mind, and not making mistakes and costing money. Because it costs money to correct things. So we need to focus on ensuring that we listen to our community. I hear that often they're not listening to us. We need to listen to our community, and we need to make decisions that is needed, that is practical, and that is resourceful for the community.
Thank you, Carrie. Before we move to the next question, I was going to say, I understand maybe emotions might be starting, we're getting halfway there, emotions might be starting to get involved. Just to be aware that what's being shared are perspectives, so you may not always hear what you want to hear, but keep that in mind as you move forward, as you evaluate the candidates. So, by all means, you can express yourself, just be cautious of the time and interfering with the candidate's response. We'll move into the next question.
Good evening, and thank you to all the candidates for putting their names forward to potentially lead this town. My name is Colleen Gruber, and I do sit as the president of the Ajax Minor Hockey Association. With me today is Craig Woods. He's also the president of the Ajax FC Club, and Scott Manson from the Ajax Spartans Baseball Association. We are non-for-profit organizations here in Ajax. We are your largest field and rink users, and collectively we do provide programs for 4,000 children here in Ajax.
Okay, if I can ask for the question, please. Yep.
Non-for-profit youth sports organizations benefit the town by offering programs on behalf of the town. As a result, the town does not need to incorporate these type of programs into their recreation service profile. Many towns, both with...
Sorry to interrupt, but we're not going to get to the question, just based on our time. I respect what you have to say, but we need the question.
If elected mayor, would you consider subsidized user group fees for the town's non-for-profit youth sports partners in order to continue to provide active programs for the children in our community?
Again, the question of subsidized user group fees for non-profit organizations. We'll start with Arthur.
Normally, I would always say that's a good question. That's a good question. But for me, it's a kind of a hard question. But from my experience with dealing with non-profit groups, whenever a group is providing facilities for children, regardless of their age or what have you, I would always ask the mayor or somebody in charge to support those groups, to put finance into this group, and give those groups, once it's not-for-profit, it's for the benefit of the people that you're serving. I will support that initiative when I become here, yes.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer.
Yes, absolutely. We should be encouraging sport, encouraging active engagement, and part of what it disturbs me about the way the town seems to run is that the default seems to be no. So every question that's posed, what I've heard from residents is just no. We can't have a farmer's market. We can't do anything that residents seem to want. So as it relates to nonprofits providing options, opportunities for people to have, activities and be able, and to, I think they should absolutely be supported, and I also want to see some way of knowing what the demand is. So are we operating sort of in the dark? We don't know how many people are interested in this. You're serving 4,000 people. That's excellent. I'm not so sure if we were to reach out and do, not a survey because we want to survey stuff, but if we had quantitative data that told us exactly how much the demand there is and how much people want to support this, would we be inclined to in fact support it, never mind, charge user fees? So my agenda is a common sense agenda. There's nothing more logical about offering opportunities for youth to be active and engaged. It provides opportunities for them to be and safe environment and not getting into things that they shouldn't be involved in. So, and it disturbs me that it's only in this type of forum that you get people coming up and asking for these things. It's only during electioneering time that, you know, people will listen, that your politicians will, you know, take your inquiries. That shouldn't be the case. You should always have access to the town and be getting the information you want, the answers that you want, the ones that make sense, the common sense answers that everyone would say, yes, of course, let's do that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean.
Thanks, Ryan. Respectfully, there is quantitative data. It's available on our website. It's a very simple search. And as far as communication, I've spoken with Ajax Spartans, not you, sir, but with Wayne, and I've spoken with Colleen. I haven't had the opportunity to speak with Ajax Soccer yet. And I was really disappointed when I heard that I believe it was Ajax Missouri Soccer Club has already made the decision to potentially go to Pickering. At our last general government committee meeting, actually had our staff put together, each year we approve all our fees, and we do a comparison out here, we do a comparison of other municipalities, all our neighbors. And yeah, we're higher. And to me, youth sports is incredibly important. We have childhood obesity, we have kids getting in trouble, we need to keep our kids active. And to me, youth sports is an investment in our community. And we can't risk losing some of our important community partners to other municipalities because the cost of our fields. Like right now, we may already have soccer fields that are going to sit empty if soccer goes. What are we going to do if the arenas are empty? What are we going to do if the baseball diamonds are empty? We've got this infrastructure, we need to maintain it anyway. And quite honestly, it's not big money. It is big money, but in a $49 million budget to operate the town, it's not big money. $40,000 to $50,000 of an investment in youth sport is to me a good investment. And I'm going to work with the community groups moving forward and make sure we remain competitive and make sure we encourage youth sport in our community. One of the other things that's in, I'll switch gears to my policy, is to look for alternative forms of revenue for the town of Ajax. And I just released today my responsible spending policy, and I speak to different ways that we can look at having other forms of revenue in the town to help support worthwhile ventures like this and some other things that we can't currently support. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Jeremy.
Actually, my son plays for you guys. They just won the championship, Team Royale. One of the concerns that I hear from other parents is they're paying so much for their children to be able to play. We have the highest cost in fee from what I'm being told, and family members are going to other cities in town to actually have their kids do sports because they take on the cost, then the cost goes on to the parents, and parents are not able to afford it. We need to make it easier for nonprofits to be able to service our community. And as someone who run a nonprofit, it's very difficult to get funding within our town. And I think it's important for us to be able to assist you guys so that you can help our community. Our kids are gaining weight more and more. They need to be active. It's something that also helps them with their schoolwork as well, to keep them focused. Sports is very important for our children, and it's something that we need to help to be able to make it affordable for our parents so that they're able to keep their kids healthy and active within our community.
Thank you, and Colleen.
Thank you, and thank you for all the work you do with our young people. I know how important it is, and to anybody who is volunteering with a sports group. I certainly know, and I sat on the Association Local Public Health Agencies for Ontario and Public Health at Durham Region, so I'm a strong advocate for healthy lifestyles. Overweight and obesity is becoming a crisis. It's looming. Our children, young people may not live as long as their parents. We have to do something about it. And certainly what you're doing is helping them. I'm open to discussions. There's no question about that, to sit down and look at what can be done. I also know in serving a large nonprofit that provides social services in the region that affordable recreation was a real issue for many families. And I supported our funding to be available so that children who are from families who can't afford to play hockey and baseball and all the sports that they would like to and that they should, that we have policies in place to help them, as well as free passes to assist them to attend recreation programs. And I certainly think that we need to do more on that. There's lots of research to show that by having young people involved in sports and activities, it can not only change their physical health, but also their other mental health and other issues as well. It can solve a lot of problems. So yes, absolutely, I will sit down and discuss what can be done to encourage more youth in sports.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you for that question. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lisa Washington. I've been living in Ajax for 13 years. I also have a business in Whitby, and I just bought a condo at Durham Live. Congratulations to you all. Best of luck. My question is, the economy here in Durham region is very lax. We know this. Minimum wage paying jobs, etc. Sean and Colleen, what projects have you orchestrated for women in business, sports, arts, music in this region during your term? And candidates, what plans do you have to build better equality and equity for women in business in the same areas?
Okay. This one will start with Jen.
So, thank you for the question. First off, the engagement initiative that I talked about at the beginning, that applies to everything. So, we do want to get like-minded people who have the same interests, connected, so that they can benefit from the energy, from the knowledge that they can share. The business professional community, women's community specifically, is already organized in Durham. There's already an organization. So they're quite active, and they've been encouraging women for a number of years. What I specifically would do to promote more opportunities for women and more economic opportunities in general is to position Ajax as the premier place to be in Ontario. And I really believe that all of my initiatives are a little bit outside the box. I mean, I've got a seniors helpline. No one's talking about that. And that is specifically based on the fact that we've got a segment of the population that is completely unserved. They cannot just, take a look at, open up a computer and do a Google search. They have to use an old-fashioned landline. So there's all of the initiatives are a little bit sort of creative and different, but they're designed to take Ajax to the next level. I fully believe that this is one of the best jurisdictions in the entire world. It's perfectly positioned for a fabulous future. It's just missing leadership that has heart and that's thinking outside the box. Once you do a few initiatives that a 4-day work week, for instance, piloted at the town, the seniors helpline. Once other people, a youth think tank on the environment. Once other jurisdictions start to get wind of all the things that are happening in Ajax, their business is going to want to be here. It's going to be the premier spot to want to be in. And thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean.
Thanks, Lisa. And I'm not going to be able to answer your question specifically. I don't think where we can look at women only. I think we have to look at employment as a whole, and my economic development policy speaks to that. In my opening remarks, I spoke to the fact that 70% of our workforce goes to the city to work every day because we just don't have the jobs here. But we've got over 400 acres of prime service employment land sitting in North Ajax vacant. We spent $1.4 million of taxpayers' money in 2007 servicing these lands, and we haven't recouped our investment yet. We look at Whitby, we look at Pickering, and they've got all kinds of commercial investment, they're creating all kinds of jobs, and they're being successful. And then we look at Ajax, and we're not. And we have to ask ourselves why. And the fact is, we've just become known to be difficult to do business with. We're known as the red tape capital of the Durham region, and that's why my campaign slogan is cut the red tape and roll out the red carpet for business. Some of us will talk about responsible development. It's all responsible development. We have to follow the same planning act, and we have to follow our official plan. There's no irresponsible development. The problem is we can't attract the people to come and make the investment here. And I'll give you a case in point. 3 months ago, $34 million, 2 hotels went to Whitby. And I talked to the owners, the developers, and I said, why? And they said their exact words, we don't want to do business in Ajax, it's too difficult. So we need to fix that. We need a solution-based approach to planning. We need to work collaboratively with our partners, cooperatively, to get them through the red tape and get those shovels in the ground and create jobs. We also have a very, very educated workforce in Ajax, and the fact we lack jobs, we've got university people taking a lot of the entry-level jobs, and that's putting the entry-level people into poverty. We need to address that. We need to create those high-tech manufacturing, that type of high-paying, good-quality jobs, so people can afford to buy the houses here in Ajax, and free up those entry-level positions for those that need them most as well. I apologize I didn't answer your question properly, but in a roundabout way, and I would ask everybody to please go read my economic development policy available on the website, because it goes into a lot of detail, and it has absolute solution-based steps on how we're going to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. One of the barriers, one of the issues that I faced when deciding whether or not I should run or not, I was told that Durham Region is not ready for a woman leader. And it was very uncomfortable to hear. What I think we need to assess is where women are in our community. We need to analyze what is going on, and we need to address the needs. What I like about, when I came onto the Board of Trustees for Lake Bush Health, they brought on 3 strong, powerful women. Because we're all different. We all bring different things to the table. And it's when we bring those different perspectives and views to the table, we're able to make better informed decisions. Women have a place in our society. Women have a place in our town. If we don't take a look outside of the box, because sometimes we're not given opportunity, because sometimes some people feel that we're inferior to others. And we don't get those opportunities very easy, and we have to stand up for that. So we need to ensure that we're taking a look at that from a different lens to ensure that we have equality for all.
Thank you for the question. I do have a paper on responsible development, and I would encourage everybody to look at it on my website. We've done a great job so far. We started in 2005, 1,000 acres. We only have 50 acres left of marketable land. We need to have more sewage capacity in our downtown to intensify and have more employment in our older employment areas. But you asked about women and diverse communities, and I agree. We need to do more. One huge issue, which I've been an advocate for many years, is more affordable childcare. Women can't go to work if they are shouldering the burden of childcare. So, and I hear of many who have had to leave a job because they simply can't afford the childcare. So that's one issue. As well, I think we need to encourage each other and work together. I've spoken at different women's forums about that and talked to entrepreneurs to encourage them and provide support, and certainly through our Ajax Business Network as well, we can do that. I think we need to recognize women's contributions, and that's why I felt so strong about recognizing the women who really were the backbone of the war effort and the monument to Canadian women war workers. We have to celebrate our achievements, and we have to be good role models. I know that you are, and many women in this room. I hope that I am, and I would encourage anyone who knows younger women, please encourage them to get into politics. We need more women and diversity on governing bodies. We'll be more successful if we do. I played hockey when I was young. Very few did. I decided hockey is not just a man's sport, neither is politics.
Thank you, Pauline. Arthur.
I am from a family of 6 sisters. I've experienced what women have gone through, and I have always been an advocate for women's rights. When I was doing my research to run for mayor of Ajax, I started talking to different organizations, spoke to the police department. My concern was, how many women officers do you have on the force? The numbers were low. That blew my mind. When I spoke to the fire department, same question. How many women do you have in the fire department? The numbers were low. When I spoke to the EMS, same question. numbers are very low. I am a strong advocate for women's rights. I'm a strong advocate for women's economic development. When I become mayor, I will be working with the federal government or the provincial government to implement programs that will uplift women, to give them the right, because they are the provider of the next generation. They need to be strong, they need to be equal, and they need to have an equal place. And in my tenure as mayor, women will have equal rights in every walks of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Please go ahead.
I'd like to rebut
Oh, sorry to interrupt. We do have a rebuttal for that question. Sean, please go ahead. Your final rebuttal.
Thank you. I just would like to speak a little bit more about economic development because it is so important. And quite honestly, it's the only way we're ever going to address our constant rise in residential property taxes is to broaden our tax base with those commercial taxes and create jobs. And to say that we only have 50 acres available, you're just not in touch with the business community. There's over 400 acres available. There's only 50 marketed right now. And if you read the policies I put out, you'll see the action items that we can do to encourage growth in those areas. Things like creating an employment plan, an employment area specific community improvement plan, so we can give DC and tax incentives to attract business. Things like removing a 35% tax reduction on vacant land, which will incent those landowners that are land banking to bring those lands to the market. It's not we only have 50 acres, we have 400 plus acres. It's getting those acres to the market and getting them developed and creating those jobs for everybody. And that is the problem here with Ajax. Residentially, we've done really well. Residential takes care of itself, but commercially we're stagnant. And that's the only way we're going to address the number one thing that everybody's bringing up at the door, and that's high property taxes.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Pauline, you also
I want to rebut that because from the region's economic department and the town of Ajax economic department, there's 50 acres of marketable land. The remainder is held by businesses who want to retain it for their own use, or others who want they're not ready to sell right now. They have plans for that land for employment. So there's only 50 actually available. There is no evidence that taxing vacant land at a higher rate encourages employment development. We need to do the things that I'm talking about in my paper as far as responsible development. And one is a community planning permit system to speed up the process and get what we want on the other hand, and as well to do other initiatives like more sewer capacity in our older employment areas.
Thank you, Pauline. Sorry to interrupt you, please go ahead.
That's okay. Good evening, my name is Jackie Tonano, and I first just want to thank all of the candidates. I think it's very kind of all of you to come forward.
Just step closer to the mic.
But my tax is right up where I wanted to talk. I know that I moved back to Ajax 16 months ago. I was here 15 years ago and I loved it, and I came back to retire here. So I think this town is number one. But I wanted to ask about the impact of the casino closing and the financial impact. With the casino closing, obviously there is a revenue loss to the town of Ajax, and I would like each candidate to specifically talk about how they anticipate regaining those revenues without increasing our taxes.
Question on the issue of casinos and revenue involved. We'll start with Sean.
It's a great question, and as an accountant by trade, I absolutely agree with the way we did this. We didn't front end. When we originally started the Ajax Downs, it was only 200 slots, and the expected revenue was only $1 million. And we let them grow over time as certain thresholds are met, which was the responsible way to do it, to 400 to 600 to 800. And now we're currently collecting just over $7 million a year, and around $75 million since inception. We did not give an upfront tax credit with that money, because in my opinion, that would have been irresponsible. If we'd given an upfront tax reduction, and then we lose that income, we have no alternative but to raise taxes. What we did do was we used those funds to accelerate capital projects, move things forward without incurring debt. By doing that and not incurring debt, we were able to avoid future tax increases to service that debt. So we back-ended it. So instead of giving an upfront tax reduction, what we've done over the last 10 years is we've actually reduced taxes by 10% on the back end to the tune of 1% per year by avoiding that debt. That's a responsible way to do it, and that's why if we do lose the slots at Ajax Downs, we're not going to experience an increase in our taxes. What may happen is some of our capital projects may get pushed further out into the future, and some of those capital projects we may have to incur a little bit of debt on. But the main thing is we've got the big ones all out of the way. The things like the St. Francis Center and the Operations Center and the Fire Hall and Art 1 and 2, all those things. So I think we've done it correct. I just wanted to revisit once more, I got rebutted and I got cut off, but it's funny, my colleague, Councilor Jordan, actually voted for the tax reduction at the region of Durham, and that's coming to Ajax regardless, because Ajax has to follow the region's plan. So she actually supported it, but then spoke against it, so I just wanted to point that out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean.
As you know, when you're outside of what's happening and when you're inside, it's two different things. As someone who's involved in government, you have to make sure you assess what's going on in order to make an informed decision. I'm not on council yet. What I'm finding is some of the decisions that we're making, we need to make more informed decision on what's happening. What I like to do in making governing decisions, I like to take a look at what's happening. I like to get the responses from the expert and figure out what's next to do. In regard to us losing money, from what I've been told is we'll see a difference in about a couple of years. I met with Mayor Ryan today to take a look at what's been happening with the town and what we're doing and what's different and what can we do to increase revenue stream in our town. We need to attract quality businesses in our community. We need to ensure that we let the investors know that we're willing to invest and we want to invest. And we need to prove that we're a friendly environment for investing in. And we need to bring those quality investors into our town to gain more money for our community, to be able to use it effectively within our community.
Thank you, Carrie. Colleen.
Well, I think the revenue on the casino was explained quite well. We've been very responsible with it. The bigger issue about that is the traffic chaos that it's going to cause in Pickering Village as well as along Church Street and areas around there. We had infrastructure here in Ajax that was already paid for, and now my concern is that we'll have to contribute to, we'll either live with traffic chaos or contribute to new infrastructure to support a casino down where the location is proposed for Pickering. So that's a major concern. As far as taxes, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario has predicted that taxes, if something isn't done by other levels of government, could double by 2025. There's a huge funding gap. We're responsible for 60% of the infrastructure with 8 cents on every tax dollar. You pay $237 more in property taxes than any other municipality that's outside of Ontario. It's because we're paying through our property taxes for social services that shouldn't be on the property tax bill, and that needs to change. I'm a strong advocate for advocating through the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and other levels of government. Brought a motion to Ajax to support in principle, AMO looking at other revenues, and certainly my colleague was the only one on Ajax Council to not support that. The alternative is either cut services or higher property taxes.
Thank you, Colleen. Arthur.
The thing I love about dislike about politics and politicians is the idea of fooling people. Now, go to my heart. We were making $7 million a year from the casino, approximately upward of $70 million since the casino opened. That revenue would be gone. We need to subsidize that revenue by some way, some means, because if we do not, it's going to fall right back on the taxpayers. Anybody who tells you that it's not going to affect the taxpayers are fooling you. That is incorrect. It will fall back on the taxpayers. What I would propose as mayor is that what we need to do, we need to sell it out to the rest of the world. There's companies that are looking to expand. Have them come to Ajax and expand. Work with them, negotiate with them so that they can bring their business right here back into Ajax. So that people who live in Ajax does not have to work outside of Ajax. We need to bring Ajax back alive. Take a look for yourself. Ajax is dying. It is dying because we're losing everything to other municipalities. We need to do what is necessary and what is needed to bring Ajax back to the Waterfront. Ajax is a beautiful town. It should be upgraded to a city so that investors would look at investing in the beautiful city of Ajax, not the town of Ajax. The council has been paying, I think it's some organizations in Toronto to sell Ajax. With a strong negotiator as myself and a strong negotiation team, we can sell Ajax without having to pay anyone to sell Ajax for ourselves. So Ajax can benefit, and the residents of Ajax would not have to get a bleed in their pocket paying high taxes because the council have failed. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer.
Thanks for the question. First point, when you're listening to all the candidates here at the table, everybody's got different facts. I'm not sure why that's the case, but one of the main items that I have on my platform is broad education, consistent facts. We should all have access to the same numbers, and it shouldn't be, we shouldn't be able to banter back and forth like this and have misinformation. To answer the question about the revenue from casinos, that is expressly used for capital projects. It was explained clearly here, but it took a long time to get to it. It's just basically never been used to as part of your operating tax budget. So yes, losing that money will not impact your property taxes, except in as much as if there's a capital project on the horizon, that may not be possible anymore. Capital projects are not necessarily mandatory, some of them are, but some of them are optional. Oddly, rec center, as controversial as it is to say this, is at the nethermost region of our municipality. There are no residents to the north of Taunton and none to the east. If I was part of the council decision making at the time, I would not have deemed it appropriate to have a facility that serves one quadrant of our municipality, 25%. I would have enhanced services that in the existing facilities that are equidistant for all residents. So these are decisions that politicians make, and I think that your property taxes don't necessarily have to go up if your priorities are such that you determine that you don't want to spend money on things that maybe you can't afford. Maybe the town of 125,000 people can't have 4 libraries.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now, before we get to the next question, how many people in the audience do have a number to ask a question? Okay, because we only have time. We're going to do a quick practice round of voting in the democratic spirit here. How many of you are okay with staying till 9:15? By show of hands. Majority rules. So we'll stay till 9:15 and we'll fit as many as we can. That might only be 2 or 3 based on the time for responses. But go ahead, sir, please.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Crawley. My question is concerning driving, especially people driving around Ajax. There seems to be an increasing problem in Ajax with speeding on our smaller streets and stop sign members of mayors. Do you agree that there is a problem? And if so, what would you do to correct the problem?
Okay, on the topic of speeding and stop signs. Missing or people not stopping at the stop signs? Thank you. Do you agree with that? And what's your take? Kieran, we'll start with you.
That is definitely an issue because even I live in around the corner a lot, and I can't tell you how many times I see cars just flying by, and they're not slowing down, they're not watching for our children. I have an 8-year-old, and honestly, it scares me every time I see it. One of the things is we need to be able to allow cars to slow down, whether it's speed bumps, to be able to not have them go so fast, whether it's reporting it. We need to have things in place so that when someone is doing these things, we need to have a system in place where we can have it reported, where that we can call the police or have someone report it so that there can be warnings or whatever it is so that we can slow down the traffic. We don't lose our kids. I can't tell you how many times I've seen other parents' kids or my kids that I'm fearful for, and this is something that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Kieran. Colleen.
Yes, I agree, it's a problem, and certainly is something that we need to continue working on. We have put traffic calming measures into certain neighborhoods. There's a process for that, and a number of streets have gone through that process and measures taken. I do believe in automated speed enforcement, red light cameras, technology to assist the police as well as more officers on the street and enforcement. I also believe in other measures. I've seen it in Edmonton and other places where even designs of intersections can make a community safer. Currently, Durham Region is working on a road safety strategy. It's coming back to Regional Council early in the term to look at recommendations in areas where technology would work best, where design changes of infrastructure would be successful, and other methods. They're working with a large group of stakeholders, local municipalities, as well as the region, as well as organizations such as the police and MAD. So there's a number of things we can do to work on this issue. It's a big issue, and it's occurring everywhere.
Thank you, Colleen. Arthur.
Speeding is definitely a major issue here in Ajax. Also, it rests really on the regional plane. I believe we here in Ajax could do our own in making these stop signs and these speeding a deterrent by putting, when you're traveling, say, like you're traveling out to the US and you're driving in a construction zone, you see those signs that says your actual speed limit. That encourages you to drop your speed. Automatically, you know you're going over the speed limit. Oftentimes, people speed. Usually, it's on the street that they live in, or because they're in some kind of rush. But if we could put those type of mechanism where people can see how fast they're going, or there's a sign that says slow down, I think that would help people from speeding. As far as the stop signs are concerned, what we need is more dedicated police officers, more police visible, police who are working the beat, especially in high speeding areas, so that people will know police are usually there and they will automatically speed up. In short, we need smarter policing technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer.
We actually do have the technology. I was at the Smart Cities Forum on the weekend, hosted by Durham Region, and Mayor Ryan is as one of the sponsors. And I think what I've learned in the last little while is that Pickering is really taking the lead, and we have some catching up to do. So the technology exists. There was a demonstration of camera. It costs about $4,000, and it will monitor your intersection. It works well for speeding, so it can capture a time of day when there's an issue, so that you're not deploying police for the whole entire day. But there's also the possibility of helping. You can use that same application for seniors. So when they step off the curb and are in the intersection, there's constant scanning from the waist up. It won't capture leaves and critters, but it will stay, the light will stay green until they've crossed. So we need to avail ourselves of the technology. We have to get working with our partners, and we certainly, I think any of us here is comfortable with us taking a backseat to Pickering. They've got the casino, there's development all over the place. Their website is excellent. What are they doing that we can't do here in Ajax? I find that a little bit challenging in a good way, that we should step it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Sean.
Thank you for the question. This is unfortunately a common issue across town. It's every street, it's every intersection. Everybody's in such a hurry, and there just is not the police available to enforce. And even if there were the police available to enforce, they have their 5 different priorities that they have to follow, and traffic enforcement is at the very, very bottom, So let's use technology to solve this problem. In May of last year, the Highway Traffic Act was changed to allow municipalities to initiate their own unmanned speed enforcement. And in May of this year, I brought forward those motions to the town of Ajax, and they were approved unanimously, and they were endorsed at the region of Durham in September, and pilots will come next year. Since then, Whitby has also passed motions. This happened in Whitby as well. Pickering has not. So I wouldn't say Pickering's ahead of us because they have not done that yet. That study that was done in New York has shown that unmanned speed enforcement was 66% effective in slowing down vehicles in school zones and in traffic calming zones. And, you know, we can have police show up, and we all know they'll show up for, respectfully, people will slow down for a day or two or a week maybe. And same with those speed boards that we put up. We actually have those, you put them up, and they don't turn them on right away. So they actually collect data for a week, and you see traffic remains the same. Then they flip them on, people slow down. And then after a month, they turn them off again, but they're still collecting data, people speed right back up. They're not a solution, they're a temporary solution. So let's use technology to help move things forward. And the other thing is, we need other forms of traffic calming on our streets. Bike lanes are one, I know people don't like bike lanes. But there are a lot of other things that are available, like the new speed humps we're using, things that are much lower cost, and things that we can put in much quicker and move these things forward and address this very major issue in our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for the question. Whoever next. Seven or eight? So they just get ready and land. Question 7?
No.
Okay, we have one coming on Mark, number 8. Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Cecil Randolph. We all agree that Ajax is a community of choice to live, to work, to play, and to prosper. My question is, what is your plan regarding addressing the affordable housing issue here in the town of Ajax?
Thank you for the question on the topic of affordable housing. We'll start with Colleen.
Yes, affordable housing is an issue. We have, I think it's over 4,000 people on the wait list. Many of those are children involved. The housing available for them that's affordable, it just doesn't exist. I was very involved in Ajax Municipal Housing when we built the last affordable housing building, Hubbard Station in Ajax, but it's not enough. I advocated for a strategy at Durham Region on affordable and seniors housing, and worked on that strategy. I was Ajax's representative and worked with representatives across the region. We looked at best practices, and we developed a number of recommendations in that strategy, including charging development charges to any developer that will be put in a reserve fund for affordable housing. That was a big thing. We put that in place in just this year. So my commitment is absolutely to have those recommendations implemented. They need to be implemented at both the regional and the local level to make a difference. We also need to continue to advocate to provincial and federal levels of government that they need to strongly support it.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Pardon? You still have time. I
So
have
that
time,
card
but
is up.
I have time. Oh, but the mic went off. Okay, I'm passionate about this issue because I've worked on this issue for a number of years. If people don't have a roof over their head, their kids don't get involved in the sports we have. They have issues in their schooling. They're moving often. Affordable housing and a good roof over someone's head really solves a lot of other issues in the community.
Thank you, Colleen. Arthur.
The wait time for housing here in Ajax is between 5 to 7 years. That's too long. Affordable housing is definitely, like you said, a problem for people who are trying to find a housing based on their income. What I would propose when I become mayor is that everyone that builds a building here in Ajax must at least dedicate 2 floors of affordable housing. I don't care if the rent is going for $1,000 or $2,000, they must have at least 2 floors of the building that must be affordable. If you cannot agree to that, then you cannot build in my Ajax. So that's one way of dealing with the affordable housing. Also, to rent a basement apartment is upward of $1,000. I would put the ceiling that people who are renting the basement must at least work with people based on their income so that they can afford housing. If you look downtown Ajax, our homeless is increasing. We need to stop that by providing more affordable housing so that people does not have to live in the streets or go in a church and sleep in the church basement just because they have a low income. That is wrong. And with the new mayorship, I would make sure that people get the housing that they can afford. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer.
So this issue is a difficult one, and it troubles me because the very reason we have elected officials representing us making decisions on our behalf is so that we do not find ourselves in a position where we are now in a crisis. This was fully predictable, and it's getting worse, right? The seniors population is going to be doubling in the next 24 years. So we're hearing talk about being passionate about working on an initiative that has absolutely produced what, right? So now we hear that all the time from politicians. We're studying it, we're reviewing it. There's recommendations that sit on a shelf somewhere. Here now, today in 2018, we find ourselves in a crisis situation. What are we going to do? So my suggestion is carry on with what you're doing. We know what those results produce, but I mean they're evidence-based. We need that research, so that's never going to go away. But at the same time, can we also supplement that work with some creative solutions? So we know that there's this everyone's talking about it right now, the Nesterly approach where you take seniors who have too much house, you match them up with low-income earners who don't have enough house, and you help both people. So the senior gets some financial support, they get help with their yard work. In an ideal situation, they might even get companionship. The low-income earners, they can pay a nominal rent and save up some money to then at some point be able to afford a house in the future. For all policy initiatives right across the board, I would like to see us do something and not just talk about it. And certainly, it is a failure of our council if we are behind the 8 ball on any initiative. What we expect our council to do is to predict, plan, and give us some solutions. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean.
Thanks, Ryan. I actually sit on the board of the Durham Region Nonprofit Housing, and I'm very familiar with this issue. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but we're the only province in Canada, Ontario is, where social housing has been downloaded to the lower tier municipality. And, in 2010, the federal government got into funding social housing completely. So our only income stream is property taxes, and we just do not have the means to fund the need. And that's why we've been going further and further behind. We need the province and we need the federal government to step up and take responsibility for what ultimately is their responsibility to fund. Now, we are doing what we can do with the funds that are provided, but my friend said, we are falling behind. And what somebody else suggested about giving away 2 floors or restricting, unfortunately the Planning Act does not allow us to do that. So we can't. There's 2 parts to the question. There's affordability and there's availability. I'll speak to availability first. At the region, we've created a reduced development charge fee. The reduced DC is there to encourage developers who want to come and build affordable housing in our region. I would also bring forward any surplus land we have in Ajax and donate that for affordable housing. That's sort of what we did with the Grandview Children's Center. We donated that piece of land, and now Grandview is going to come here and develop next year. Also, alternative forms of housing. I've been in touch with people here. There is a developer in town that wants to do proposals with shipping containers. He applied to the town and was turned down, but we need to find another place where they can do that and help that move forward. These have been used really effectively in San Francisco and Vancouver, and instead of $225,000 per unit, or $85,000 per unit. Finally, affordability. That speaks to my economic development plan, and that's about creating more jobs. There's some people that can't work and need the subsidy, but there's other people that want to work and are working 2 or 3 part-time jobs just to make ends meet because we don't have enough jobs. And that's the other piece of the puzzle. So let's get out some out-of-the-box thinking. Let's start working with these people and move forward to solve this issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
I'm an advocate, and that is what I do best. I plan on advocating with the provincial and the federal government. I'm so tired of seeing homelessness on the street, and sometimes it feels like our council is closing their eyes to it. I have individuals that I've seen in the community who are providing services for our community, and based on the fact that their guaranteed-income housing has increased, they no longer can live within their community. So therefore, they're having to find other places to live, like move into a different city or town just to be able to afford it. We're also losing services that are valuable to our community because those individuals who provide those services to our community are having to move to address their needs financially. We need to push to our government. We need to work hard. We need to advocate. And we need to work on this. This is an issue that we need to address.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for the question. Whoever has the number 9 or 10, if you want to make your way up to the mic.
Number 11.
Oh, I'll make it 11.
Finally.
Whenever you're ready, please.
I wish you all the best luck on your campaign. I have a question in regards to dealing with the gridlock, the traffic gridlock for the people who are leaving Ajax to go to work.
Okay, so traffic gridlock, specifically when people are leaving Ajax
to go to work.
To go to work.
Yeah.
Okay, on that topic, we'll start with Arthur.
Traffic gridlock is definitely a major issue here in Ajax. The very first thing I would do to eliminate the traffic gridlock is that we have bus lanes that can be changed into HOV lanes. That when the buses are not there, people should be free to use those HOV lanes. Another thing again, we have in certain areas, especially in the south, bike lanes that are totally, for some people, a nuisance. The traffic in that area is crazy because of the bicycle lanes. So we also need to put incentive that people can carpool. So we give incentive to people who wants to carpool and become part of that, some kind of exemption that they don't have to everybody have to use their vehicles. But I think what is really needed to ease that traffic gridlock for now is the remodification of the bus lanes into the HOV lanes. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer.
Thank you. So part of what makes Ajax so wonderful is that we have a lot of really smart people here, and we probably are in a position where we can start looking at options other than everybody driving into the core every single day. It's not good for the environment. It's, you know, working from home has not been embraced by everyone, and it may not ever be, but we certainly can offer up a compromise position where you have satellite offices where people can work some of the days of the week here in Ajax. I think we have the technology for sure. I mean, that's, you know, it's just a matter of whether there's a will and whether or not, as a government, we're willing to test some new creative ideas. I think sometimes with public policymakers, people are focused on a one-size-fits-all solution, and they spend a lot of time studying and researching the option that's going to work for everyone. And sometimes it's just good enough to put forward a couple of demonstration projects that let people sample it, and then once they see it, perhaps make modifications, they can see what's possible. So I would like that primarily would be my main suggestion for improving the gridlock is to offer up some working in Ajax solutions that don't require business coming here and setting up. They can be done fairly immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean?
Thank you. Gridlock and traffic, I don't think anybody has a magic bullet for this one. I mean, we're going to have to try a number of different things. I'll go back to economic development first. Like I started with, 70% of our population travels into the city every day to work, and that's either on the GO train or driving. I don't know what we can do about the 401, that's MPO. That's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time to widen that to be able to handle the amount of the pure volume. But I think the key is to get people out of their cars. And when I talk about economic development, imagine if we can, over the next 10 years, create 10,000 new jobs in Ajax. That's 10,000 less cars on the road, that's 10,000 less people sitting on the GO train, that's more people living and working here. Also, I'll talk to redeveloping our downtown core. We do have to address the sewage capacity issues in our downtown, and we can access the regional revitalization plan for that, which is a fund specifically to the region to help address things like infrastructure needs. Once we do that, and we can create more of this mixed use, more people again can live and work in downtown without having to, in Ajax, without having to get into their cars, without having to travel into the city. Transit is subsidized, yet most people still travel to the GO station. Why? Because they get 2,000 free parking spots. I mean, that's not an incentive to get people out of their cars and into transit. It only costs 75 cents to take the bus to the GO train. You can't drive there for that. So I think the province could really help out in that respect as well by not making it quite as convenient to drive. And getting in and out of GO station, we all know what a problem that is. To the, as far as transit, let's talk that a little bit more. At the meeting on September 11th, I am on the transit executive vice chair of transit, and transit is actually up 3.4% year over year, which is a positive start, but we need to work more, we need to enhance our routes, and one of the things that we bring to the table is our high frequency routes, the 915, 916, and 224. They're 15-minute times now, peak. We're going to be making those 15-minute times throughout the day to help make it more convenient and get more people off the road. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Gary?
We need to encourage more carpooling in our community. We also need to have more buses within our community to make it easier for community members to actually get to the GO station. I hear a lot of community members, one of the things they're saying, I would rather not drive to work, but I can't get to the GO station. If there is a way that I can actually get to the GO station, I would rather just jump on the GO and get to work instead of to drive where I have to go. We also need to encourage carpooling for our children. If you have a parent on the street that's already going to the school, perhaps they can go together, you know? I'm also hearing from community members about perhaps even a bicycle rental program. Put in more bicycle lanes within the community to make it easier to ride versus having a car on the road.
Thank you, Carrie. Colleen?
Yes, thank you. We definitely need to get more people on buses. The rapid transit route is excellent. We need to continue enhancing our transit. Particularly, I hear a lot of complaints from seniors where bus stops were moved, where it made it inaccessible, particularly in bad winter conditions. We have to revisit that. As well, we raised the transit fee at Durham Region to almost $100 a month for students. I was one of the few people that voted against that. It was exorbitant because if you had 2 or 3 children, students that were going to high school, it would be cheaper almost to buy a cheap car to get them there. There's cities like Kingston that provide free transit to students 13 to 19. I think we need to examine other models and at least reduce the fares so they're affordable for students who are traveling all across the region to school, and then we'll free up some space, but certainly public transit. As far as more employment here,
As I stated, we only have 50 acres marketable. It's all in the reports from economic development. We need, right now, we have applications in for development in Ajax for 1,200 new jobs. But what we need to do is intensify in areas where it's appropriate, like our downtown, like the medallion development, where there's commercial and office space. We also need a community planning permit system, which streamlines the development process. Time is money to developers, and we can also, through that process, get things that we want, such as affordable housing or green, environmentally friendly initiatives. And I'll support that.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you for that question. Our next question.
Number 12, please.
Number 12. There we go. Feels like the price is right. Come on in. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My question is that what's your vision for our youth? Especially I would like to ask those youth who's going right now, UOIT, Durham College, Waterloo, other station. Do you have any plan of future university in Ajax? Do you have any plan for job creating like high technology, like bring Google here, so our youth in future cannot commute and they can stay more in their hometown? Thank you.
Okay, on the topic of youth after graduation and employment, avoiding brain drain, we'll start on this one with Jennifer.
Thanks for the question. Youth employment, youth period is very, very important. We need to make sure that we're serving the needs of that community. We have a large youth population in Ajax, so I think 30% of our population is considered youth, or below the, actually, I don't know, 35. So what I would like to do is have a youth task force on the environment, and a think tank actually. And I know that's a little bit counterintuitive because normally we reserve think tanks for sort of people who are more sort of PhD types. I think it's important to elevate our youth, to give them some substantive work to work on. I would like to see them doing research and looking and providing recommendations to the town on issues like the environment. And then, of course, engagement, as I spoke about earlier, that's important. In terms of specific programs for them, the Ontario government has a very long list of opportunities, startup businesses for youth. There's about 25 programs that they offer. What I would like to know is if, after looking at all of those, if they still are not applicable to our youth here. And this is part of how you govern. You have to be positioned to be able to listen to what the feedback is. If there is a gap, then we should be looking at filling that. So yeah, youth employment, youth in general, they need to be, we need to not sort of discard, same as seniors, we need to be able to look at valuing their input, giving them a concrete voice. And it seems to me that if we can do that for our youth community, other people, other communities, and youth here in Ajax will see that if we've got a task force or a think tank, that people, those other youth will be, impressed by the fact that we're listening to them.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sean.
Thank you, great question. I put out a college university campus technology piece on my website that I'd like to invite everybody to read. In there I talk about, and I've also said I don't just talk about the issues, I bring solutions to the table. This is not just a thought, this is something I've actually been working on for well over the last 6 months. I've already had meetings with UOIT, I've already had meetings with the college, I've already had meetings with the Spark Center, Stiletto, and Angel Investors Networks in the province, and the economic development people at the region and at the town. And this is already in motion. We've already had a lot of these meetings, and this is a doable thing. Technology is the way of the future in Durham region. And a lot of universities, if you read my piece, I have all sorts of stats on there on what universities are doing today to help encourage their graduates to bring their ideas to market. These new youth, these new students, these new graduates can afford the places that they need to go and work and develop their things. So the colleges and universities are providing incubators. And that's what we need to look at here. I've also been working with the Peacock family, who probably are very large landowners, And we keep coming back to the 50 acres of marketable land. They own 275 alone on the east side of Salem Road. It's just not on the market. That number 50 is what's for sale today. There's a lot of land out there. And it's Justin Pico's goal to create a technology hub in North Ajax, and I've been working with them on that, to help attract these youth, to create these high-tech manufacturing, high-quality jobs, and move these things forward. Another thing that I would do, if we're not successful in that, is create our own incubator here in Ajax. We have warehouse space here. We have 40,000 square feet I've already toured, where the town of Ajax can go in with our economic development plan, lease that space, and turn it into our own incubator to encourage growth in our community. This project was brought forward before, it didn't go ahead, it wasn't the right time. It's the time now. So I think that's a great question, and absolutely something that I've already addressed and I'm going to be moving forward on my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Sherry.
You know, you constantly hear that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm one of those parents who are concerned about our young generation who's about to graduate from school. My son is a 21-year-old, he's doing fire protection engineering technology, and he finished his last year. My son said to me, you know what, Mom, I'm going to have to move to the States. I am concerned where my son is going to get a job. I'm already preparing myself that he might have to move away just to be able to get a job. When you hear that the firefighters are saying, council is not listening to us, they need to listen to us. We need more firefighters. I'm very concerned. Because where's our kids going to get jobs from? So many parents are saying that, you know what, my kids are graduated, but I don't know where they're going to get jobs. We need to have quality businesses invest our town to create more opportunity for our younger generation through technology. Technology is a thing, and if we're not on top of technology, we're going to be left behind.
Thank you, Carrie. Colleen.
Yes, thank you. I agree with what you said, and we do need more opportunities. We also need to engage younger people and youth through the communication channels that they use. They're very active on social media, but we're not reaching out to them in the ways that they communicate, to let them know about the opportunities. As far as the college and universities, I've spoken to them. There's a moratorium. They aren't building satellites in communities at this point in time. What they are doing is investing in their current facilities. For example, artificial intelligence is a new program that will be enrolling students in the fall. It's a new field, and students from Durham College will have that available, or students who are attending. As well, the university has had an infusion of a huge, I think it was $9.5 million for their automotive center of excellence. The technology that is being developed here in Durham region through our universities and colleges is quite impressive, and that will start up businesses in this area as well. We need to work with our students and universities and the people in the decision-making positions there to discuss with them how we can promote it. There are many, many students who are placed not only in our hospital, but other businesses in Ajax to get experience hands-on in their field, and that will encourage. As well, good jobs come from the public sector. I support the expansion of our hospital. Grandview is another example where we donated lands. These are great jobs for people. The hospital expansion is needed to serve our community and provides highly paid jobs.
Thank you, Colleen. And Arthur?
Ajax has gone through and continues to go through a massive brain drain because most of our educated youths work outside and work elsewhere. What we need to do here in Ajax is to work with employers that they would hire the youths that live in Ajax first before they take other people from out of town or from out of area. I own one of the longest beauty salons here in Ajax. One of the initiatives that we've had for many years is training young people to be entrepreneurs, to open their own business, go out and sell your service. You may graduate with a degree in science of some field, and you cannot get employment here in Asia. But what we have encouraged these youths to do is to become more self-employed, so that they do not have to depend on to be underemployed, or to make themselves more worthy. Work with employers right here in Ajax, that if they hire a percentage of our youth, they get a tax break of some kind. But the initial is to save our beautiful town of Ajax from continuing to suffer this brain drain. We need to keep our youth here. We need to do everything, because after all, the youth are our tomorrow. They are our future. And if we get rid of them, we will have a very poor future here in Asia. So we must do what is needed to bring back the jobs and to bring the youth right here in Asia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Arthur. And we go to rebuttal. Jennifer would like you to final one.
Just a quick comment. While we're talking about youth, as I've been knocking on doors, it's occurred to me, and I've been sort of posing the question to everyone I meet, what do we do when a youth is going astray? And how do we support a parent who is watching their child sort of go sideways, basically? I think that's something that is very important. We're looking at trying to deal with, prevention is a lot better in terms of public policy, rather than dealing with things after the fact, once people are, really need the services, strong services of incarceration or whatever else. So that is something that I haven't encountered anyone who's got a good answer for that, and I think that's something that should be on our radar. What do we do to help parents? They can't go to the police, they can't go to the schools probably. They want to help their child, and I think we should probably be looking at how we can support them.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for the question. And this will be our final question for tonight, just based on time, so I apologize if we didn't get to anyone, but please go ahead.
Children are the future. They're everywhere in our community. So therefore, why should children be exposed to the risk of secondhand marijuana smoke when there are definitely findings on the federal government website that they are a risk? Also, all of us here in this room will be exposed to the secondhand risk. What are your thoughts of the opt-in and or opt-out options for storefront marijuana sale?
Okay, so opinions on, just to get clear on the question, opinions on the storefront sale of marijuana? We'll start with Sean.
I knew this was going to come up, but I thought we dodged the bullet, but we didn't. There's so many unknowns right now, and I think we're naive to think that this is not already among us. I mean, I've spent the last 7-8 weeks outdoor knocking every day, and you smell it everywhere. To think it's not here is not realistic. I liken it to things like gambling and alcohol, and whether you agree with those or not, they are here, they are realities in our culture and in our community. Just if you don't approve of it, don't partake of it. Kind of like gambling, if you've never been to Ajax Downs, you as a homeowner have benefited from that in some way through your taxes and tax reductions. So this is the same thing, and quite honestly, I know there's an opt-out, and I know the opt-out is supposed to be sometime in January. I'm not in a position to make a knee-jerk decision on it right now because we just don't have the information. We need to find out exactly what the policy is going to be. Anybody can order it online as of October 17th and have it delivered right to their house, whether we have a retail outlet or not. So it's here, and it's reality. And I know your regional police has said that there's issues in trying to enforce it, especially if they're driving. This will be one of the first decisions that the new council is going to make. And I think we need to get all the information, all the pros, all the cons, and I don't know if there are pros and cons. I imagine, in the other government, they talked about the town would receive certain revenues, but we weren't even given an opt-out. We were just told there would be a store here. So I think we have to look at the big picture, we have to weigh the pros and cons, and the new council will make that decision. I haven't formed an opinion yet.
Thank you, Sean and Carrie.
I'm aware of marijuana from a medical
perspective. So I see that other side where patient utilize it for benefits from a medical perspective. I'm not for just having it on the storefront because I'm concerned for our children. You don't want to make it easier for children to access it. If we were to take a look at it in regards to having it in a controlled setting so that we can keep it away from our children. If you have different businesses who are going to fight for the profit, you're going to run into a lot of issues. So there needs to be a structural way how to implement it to keep it away from our kids. My biggest concern is not making it easy for children to access it. But I also know the other side where patients are benefit from it, from reducing pain, stress, anxiety. There's a lot of medical benefits for it. But how do we balance that where we're having it so that patients can benefit from it, but not giving it and handing it to our children? We need to balance that.
Thank you, Karen and Colleen.
Thank you. I agree with your comment about our children. I think we need to make sure they're well looked after, and I always apply decision making that we look at what kind of a future we're going to leave them as well. So talking about the legalization of marijuana, I have a number of concerns as far as locations. I think that's a big concern. We don't certainly don't want those stores in certain areas. I also have concern because I've heard in policing that there isn't an effective tool to measure when someone is driving due to and is impaired due to marijuana. I also have concerns of the smell and the odor, that if you're living in close proximity or in an apartment, that it may be, it's a terrible smell in my opinion. So I think that's going to cause a lot of complaints. I also have a concern because I heard the police chief at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario speaking about the concern that now that it's been changed to private retail rather than the LCBO model, that it's easier for organized crime to infiltrate. And that raises some red flags to me. Apparently, organized crime, the revenue was $2.6 billion a year, is the figure I heard. So I think there's concerns of policing in that way, health as well. And I think that before any decision is made, that we need a really robust consultation with all the members of our community.
Thank you, Colleen. Arthur.
Many years ago, I was a strong advocate for people smoking marijuana. I think it was wrong and didn't agree with it. A few years ago, I took a course at York University called Harm Reduction. And in so doing, I understood clearly the need for those who smoke marijuana for medical reasons and those who also smoke marijuana for entertainment purposes. The tricky thing about this marijuana issue is that the active ingredients in marijuana, I believe is called TNT. Now that it's regulated by the government, you can actually determine the quality of marijuana you'll be smoking. It's not like you go on the street corner and you buy marijuana for Joe and you don't know what Joe is selling you. It's going to be regulated, so the TNT would be like what they do with drugs, 5 milligrams or 10 milligrams or whatever the measurement is. So in one way, it helps those who have medical issues or medical problems. And then I've seen people smoke marijuana and they become really calm. You know, it affects different people in different ways. So having marijuana in a storefront does not necessarily mean everybody, young people, old people, whoever, going to go out and smoke marijuana. I think it will be regulated, and I think people will know the need for and the need not to smoke marijuana. So for some, it will be good. For others, it will be not too good. I am not going to make that judgment call. It's left up to the individual. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Jennifer.
Thank you. From a public policy perspective, I would like to see systems in place so that whenever there's some new initiative that's being rolled out, something that's coming from another level of government, that we have a process in place, that we don't start from zero every single time, and we sort of ask ourselves all the same questions over and over again. So on this one, we should have a discussion, an absolute consultation. We should know what people think. There are legitimate issues that were already raised here. My particular concern is that the smell. My stepson was, his bedroom when he was young he was completely, beside the house next door was always, the aroma always came over to his bedroom, which is sad when you think a child and, they're smelling that constantly. So what is the plan when there's an initiative like this for all over Ontario? We're all dealing with all over Canada. Why are these initiatives not sort of better rolled out or supported? Why are these noticed? And I know there is some funding for the police to help with the enforcement in the early stages of this, but we should have a concrete plan in place. We should not have to be sort of figuring it out ourselves. Did we not have enough heads up on this? This is my issue with all of the public policy that we do here in the town. We just need to be sort of more systematic, have better processes in place, have a group that we can go to that's looking at this, who's providing recommendations to us in a thoughtful, measured way, etc. We shouldn't have to figure it out every time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for that question. Great job, everyone. We got through 12 questions for this round. We're going to move into the final phase, which is the closing statements that each candidate will make. And we're going to start in reverse order this time, beginning with Arthur Augusta.
Allow me to thank everyone for coming and hearing our views and issues and vision for Ajax. But we're going to ask ourselves certain questions. There's an old saying, you cannot do the same thing and expect change. Change don't work like that. In order to create change, you have to change your style. We need to change the council. Ajax is a dying town. Ajax needs to be a greater two-way city. We have lost our casino and we continue to lose everything here in Ajax. I believe in buying local. Pickering has a police station. It's not that good. Ajax does not. Pickering has a flea market. Ajax does not. Pickering has a mall. Ajax does not. Pickering is getting a state-of-the-art medical center. Ajax is not. What is going on? What have the council been doing for Ajax? Recently, we have the mayor who decided he's going to jump ship and he retired. Whatever the reasons are, I don't know. We have another council member who decided, thank you. We have another council member who decided he's not going to run. I don't know what his reason is, but the general consensus is the council has failed the residents of Ajax. It has severely retarded the economic growth of Ajax. Ajax is considered a dying town. But listen, let's not think about the past. Let's think about the future for your children and your grandchildren. Let's create a new Ajax, a new face, a diverse Ajax where everyone can enjoy prosperity in Ajax, where young people or people does not have to travel an hour and a half out of Ajax and an hour and a half in the evening. Our times that they can spend with their children and with their family. I am asking you to be wise and do the right thing, and let's change Ajax to the new Ajax. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Colleen Jordan.
Well, I'm proud of what we've done in Ajax. Many of you have been a big part of that, and I thank you for that. And I will continue to work with the community so that we continue to move ahead. As far as development, The Medallion development is the largest in Durham Region's history. It's bringing $2.6 billion in assets to Ajax residents. What do I want to do? First of all, make sure that your money and your taxes is spent wisely. A services improvement review to look at from the bottom up how we can do things efficiently and make the services work for you. Grow the green belt. We should be developing in areas such as Durham Live where there's no infrastructure, or areas in northeast Pickering where it's going to cause flooding and erosion down here in southeast Ajax. We need to provide more senior services and youth, and to engage the community in different ways so that everybody's voice and needs are reflected in our procedures and policies. I supported that we have an end-of-life facility. We don't have one in Durham Region. Most municipalities do. The Victoria Order of Nurses came out and I supported their request for funding. My opponent, Mr. Collier, did not. The only one on regional council who didn't. I don't accept developers' contributions or money for my campaign. I think that's a big difference. We approve all their applications. You need to know that whoever's making the decisions is doing it in your best interest, not the developers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Carrie Kemp.
I would like to thank the town of Ajax for having me here this evening, and thank you for listening to me. I've been working to build up Ajax community, and if elected as mayor, I would like to give me the opportunity to listen to our community, focus on our needs. I believe by focusing on our people, our environment, and economical development, we can lead Ajax forward. For me, Ajax represents hope, as it does to so many of us. Ajax needs to be a town where anyone and everyone has equal opportunity for success. This is why I'm running for mayor, to do my best to ensure that no matter who you are, you have every opportunity to make your dreams come true right here in Ajax. Ajax now more than ever need a collaborative and open government. We want Ajax to be a loving, inclusive, and enlightening community. We must work together to accomplish this. Ajax should always be a place where we can share, raise our children safely, happily, with a sense of hope. Earlier today, I met with Mayor Dave Ryan, City of Pickering, with whom I've had a history of working with through my foundation. I met with him to discuss his approach to the growth of Pickering and the relationship between Ajax and Pickering moving forward. We have to wake up. Council has been sleeping at the wheels. We need to step up our game in our economical growth with high-tech industries, seniors and youth programs, trade development, working with Durham Economical Plan, and let investors know that we're interested and demonstrate business-friendly openness. Now is the time for a new face, a new idea, and a real positive change. I believe I have the skills and ability we need to move Ajax forward. October 15th to the 22nd, we need to vote for change. That's why it's so important to vote for Carrie and Fenn for mayor, because together we're stronger.
Thank you. Next we have Sean Collier.
Thank you. That's a real marathon session. I was especially interested to hear how terrible Ajax is, and we're a dying town. I absolutely wholeheartedly disagree, having lived here my whole life. This is a really exciting time in Ajax. This is the first time in 23 years where we're actually having a mayor's race. We're going to have a new mayor. At the same time, with the redistribution of the boundaries, we also have no incumbents. We're going to have an almost entirely new council. And that's exciting also, because we need to move things forward. There's a lot of fresh new faces, there's a lot of enthusiastic, fresh new voices, and they bring a lot to the table. I open by saying that the mayor is not an entry-level position, and I think that's been made pretty clear tonight. The mayor's job is vision, leadership, and guidance. And I've spoken with most of the new candidates running, and the fact that most of them are supporting my vision, I think speaks to the buy-in there. You can tell from what we talked about today that I don't just talk, I bring solutions to the table. I have the qualifications, I have the experience, and a 15-year track record of doing exactly what I say I'm going to do, and I'm getting it done. My credentials are things I'm doing today. My experience is current and valid. Just want to add one thing about the developer contribution, because it keeps coming up and up again and again. None of us can take developer contributions. It's against the Municipal Act. The Municipal Act was changed this year. I don't know why it keeps coming up. But I also don't take developer contributions because it's not allowed under this flag. And I run a proper campaign. We didn't have time to speak too much about a lot of the issues. I invite everybody to please go to votecollier.com. Please read my policy papers and all the different things we brought forward today. Things like economic development, attractive business, creating jobs, increasing transit, costed plan for a police station in Ajax, etc. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Jennifer Brown.
Thank you so much, Ryan, and thank you to the town for organizing this event and giving us all the opportunity. It has been exhausting. I really appreciate all the work and watching the timer here, and I have sympathy for you. So, continuing from my opening statement, apart from reviewing spending and looking for ways to streamline our services, I want to ensure Ajax residents know what its government is doing, with the emphasis on doing, not just talking. We will create engagement meetings and we will connect residents so that they feel they can contribute. There is much untapped potential in Ajax. I want to create a space for people to share ideas and knowledge so that they have a voice and they feel that they're part of a community. I have a common sense agenda that focuses on transparency, accountability, and getting things done. Again, emphasis on doing. I want to solve problems and work hard to make this community vibrant and safe. I am a true public servant, and my efforts and interactions will be guided by representing your best interests. I have received no financial contributions for my campaign, and I have no affiliations or pet projects. This is intentional and ensures I am fair and objective when making decisions and executing my responsibilities as your mayor. Fortunately, many people fought all kinds and all manner of battles, including ones that involved the loss of life, for us to have the freedoms and benefits that we enjoy here today in Ajax. Let's not take that for granted. In order to move to where I would like to see us in the next 4 years, I will need your contribution, your ideas, and your help. We have much to accomplish together to make Ajax the best municipality in Ontario. My fellow residents, I can't wait to start working with and for you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give all our candidates another round of applause. That was a long session, and please give yourselves a round of applause for sticking around. On behalf of myself, Pauline, and Laura, we want to thank you. Thank you for putting Ajax first tonight. We know this is a big decision for you. Remember, October 15th to 22nd, get out there and vote. Please get home safely, and have a great night, everyone. Take care.